Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Wednesday morning to you all. I hope you guys are doing awesome out there this morning and having a wonderful start to your day. And I hope everyone's been having a great week out there so far. Unfortunately, we are waking up to a tornado outbreak now expected per the Storm Prediction Center. In fact, their latest discussion literally says tornado outbreak expected. And I'll be honest, I did not expect to wake up this morning to a high risk level 5 out of 5, but here we are. So a very dangerous day of severe weather is now expected to unfold later on today into tonight. So that's what we're here to do, is discuss this, break it down in great detail. The first thing we'll talk about is the latest from the Storm Prediction Center, their latest outlook. We'll break it down for the southern mode and then the northern mode. After we get done doing that, we'll break it down state by state. You know, if you're only wondering what's going to happen in your specific area, chances are I'll have a timestamp up for that. So just skip ahead if you want to. We'll speak on all of today's severe weather, and then we'll have a timestamp up for the snow side of this. We'll take a little bit of time, a couple minutes on that, and then we'll break down what could potentially happen going forward, like Thursday onward, as we have the potential for historic flooding, very bad flooding, and then days on end of severe weather chances going forward all the way into like Sunday. So things are not slowing down even after what potentially could unfold today, which is a significant severe weather event. So there's a lot to go over. So we're going to do that. If you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. And if anybody has anything that I can pray about or pray over, as always, please put it in the comments below. I am praying for everyone out there. And I say this in the morning of every big severe weather event. I understand there's a lot of people that suffer from that storm anxiety. And this is certainly going to be one of those days where it is going to be very high for a lot of folks. So praying for everybody in the impact zone. And yeah, let's get rocking and rolling. So this is the latest from the Storm Prediction Center, a broad look at things, if you will. We have a high risk right here where southern Illinois, western Kentucky and Tennessee, the Buda, Missouri, northeastern Arkansas, and a very small, very small section of northwestern Mississippi all kind of come close to one another, not connect because not all these states connect, but all kind of come together, right? So pretty wild stuff. Like I said a couple minutes ago, was not expecting this, and I'm still a little shocked by this, and I'll explain why here in a second. But high risk, level 5 out of 5. Let's break it down for the southern sections first. So once again, level 5 out of 5 risk of severe weather in this pink area. That's as high as it gets as far as the outlook. Moderate risk, level 4 out of 5. And I know it doesn't show a ton of town and city names on this. This is the best kind of graphic I could show you guys. It was the clearest, I would say. So hopefully you know where you are on a map, guys. That is huge. And I'm not making fun of anybody, but there is a lot of people out there that literally, you know, they don't even know what their state looks like on a map. So you got to know not only what your state looks like on a map, but where you are in your state. It's a very important day for that. So anyways, a moderate risk, level 4 out of 5 risk of severe weather, enhanced risk in the orange, level 3 out of 5 risk, and a slight risk in the yellow. That's a level 2 out of 5 risk of severe weather. And yes, there is a marginal risk in the dark green, level 1 out of 5 risk of severe weather. I'm not going to have a segment up for this, but I do want to watch the Carolinas. Just want to very briefly mention this. We could have a little tricky setup in the Carolinas today. Just want to throw you guys a bone. I am in the Carolinas. I'm in central South Carolina, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do issue a marginal risk somewhere in here. But what's driving today's severe weather risk? Tornadoes. Okay, if you live in this pink area, that is a 30% risk of a tornado within 25 miles in a given location. The red area is a 15% risk. The yellow area is a 10% risk. And the brown area is a 5% risk of a tornado. Now, if you live in the black outline region, which includes the pink area, the red area, the yellow area, that is where we have a 10% risk of a strong tornado, which is considered an EF2 or higher. So it's not a 10 plus, for example. It's not a 10 plus 30, like if you live in the pink area. It's its own deal. It's its own hatched risk, okay, own category, if you will. So big risk of tornadoes, and we could have violent tornadoes today, EF3, EF4, or stronger. It's that kind of day. Now, the wind outlook. If you live in this red area, That is a 30% risk of winds exceeding 55 to 60 miles per hour. The yellow area is a 15% risk of that. And once again, if you live in that black outline region, which includes all the red area and a very small area of the yellow, and just remember these outlooks could change. That's where you have a 10% risk of significant winds, which is winds exceeding 75, 80 miles per hour or higher within that 25 miles or within 25 miles of any given location. Sorry. All right. So the hail outlook, red area, 30% risk of hail exceeding 1 inch in diameter or larger. The yellow area is a 15% risk of that. And then if you live in that black outline region, that is where we have a hatch risk, a 10% risk of significant hail. Hail exceeding 2 inch in diameter or larger. Sorry for the fumbling of words, but it seems like we've been just repeating all of this stuff over and over again over the last few weeks, and sometimes it just gets repetitive. But we got to go over it because there's a lot of new viewers, I'm sure. But let's talk about the northern mode of this. Once again, that pink area, level 5 out of 5 risk of severe weather. The red area, level 4 out of 5 risk. The enhanced risk area in the orange, level 3 out of 5, all the way up to Chicago, Springfield, Indianapolis, almost to Detroit and Grand Rapids, Cincinnati. Louisville, you're in that moderate risk. Paducah, you're in that high risk. So the yellow is a level 2 out of 5, slight risk. Dark green, level 1 out of 5. What's driving this? Tornadoes. Once again, the pink area, 30% risk of a tornado within 25 miles in a given location. The red area is a 15%. The yellow area is a 10% risk, and the brown area is a 5% risk of a tornado. If you live in this black outline region, which includes all the yellow, red, and pink areas, you have a 10% risk of an EF2 or stronger tornado. Okay. The wind outlook. The red area, 30% risk of winds exceeding 55 to 60 miles per hour or higher. The yellow area is a 15% risk of that. The black outline region with the black dashes going in between it. Okay, that's a 10% risk of significant winds. And that it covers all of the red area. And then sections of surrounding the red area of the yellow area. 10% risk of winds exceeding 75, 80, 85 miles per hour. Within that 25 mile per hour. Within that 25 miles of any given location, okay, area. So the hail outlook, which is going to be significant also. Red area, 30% risk of hail exceeding 1 inch in diameter or larger. Yellow area, 15% risk of that. Black outline region includes all the red area, includes a large area of the yellow area. 10% risk of significant hail, hail exceeding 2 inch in diameter or larger. So that's a breakdown of the Storm Prediction Center outlook for today. This could change, this could tweak, could go down a category. I would watch for the wind and hail outlook to go up a category. That's not going to make it go from a high risk to another risk. It only goes up to a high risk. But we could certainly get some changes in the hail and wind outlook. So let's break it down kind of west and then make our way sort of south and then back to the northeast. So we're going to kind of make our way further west and then further east in general. So let's talk about Texas first. All right. And if you're just kind of waiting for your state, folks, there'll be a timestamp up for your state, I promise. So you don't have to wait if you don't want to wait. But we're starting off this morning. We have this line of storms making its way through areas of Oklahoma and surrounding states this morning. So time frame is up here, 8 a.m. Shows many towns and especially the higher populated areas of like Dallas, etc. So we take it into 9, 10, 11, maybe some showers, maybe some storms going through the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We take it to 1, 2, 3, show some storms. Come on. 3, show some storms in northeast Texas. These could produce severe hazards. Anytime I say severe hazards, I mean in hail, tornadoes, damaging winds. We take it into 4 p.m. We take it into 5 p.m., 6 p.m. Not a whole lot going on. 7 p.m. You think you're getting out of this. And then just watch what happens. 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m. Well, 9 p.m. we start to get some storms, east of Dallas around Tyler, and I want to reiterate this. When I break this down, this isn't exactly what's going to happen. This just tries to give us, it's just model guidance. It just tries to give us the best idea where these storms are going to form, where they're going to develop. We don't ever know exactly what's going to happen unless we have a time machine and we can jump ahead. So we don't. 10 p.m., 11 p.m., midnight tonight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. And it's interesting. Then around 3 a.m. tonight, well after the sun sets, after midnight, we get some large storms that begin to develop, somewhere in central or north central or northern Texas, and these could produce tornadoes. You can see these little these circular lines coming off these cells. This indicates rotating updrafts. These storms will be trying to spin, but this also tells us where we have strong updrafts, so we could have large hail. So we could have some large hailers tonight across areas of North Texas, which includes the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So this is 4 a.m. These are some large supercells going right over some highly populated areas. So we want to watch this. Make sure you have a way to protect your cars or belongings at night. If you don't, then you don't. It's just, not everybody has the luxury of having a garage or a carport. But you get what I'm saying, guys. You want to protect stuff if you can. 4 a.m., 5 a.m. These are some big storms rumbling through northern Texas. 6 a.m., 7 a.m., and then we wake up to Thursday's outlook. So really the general theme for Texas is, we can get some storms in northeast Texas today, but I would really watch out later tonight. We could have some big-time hailstorms and even some tornadoes. Oklahoma, 5 p.m., not a whole lot going on between then. I will back it up. We do have this line of storms that's making its way through the state this morning. So this is 9 a.m. You see the storms in the eastern section of the state, 11 a.m., midday, 1 p.m., 2 p.m., and then we fast forward to about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This is midnight tonight. We get some showers that begin to develop in the panhandle of Texas and western areas of Oklahoma. And then we start to get some storms probably, the wee hours of the morning in southeastern Oklahoma. See these storms kind of rumbling through southeastern Oklahoma. But, if I want to say there was any area to watch out for later on today, and really to tonight, I would say it's eastern Oklahoma. First off, we got to deal with this sweeping line of storms moving through right now in the eastern half of Oklahoma. But we also have to deal with any storms that form well after midnight tonight in like southeastern Oklahoma. But overall, I think the worst of the weather expected is east of Oklahoma. So let's jump it on down to Louisiana. I think most of the day will be pretty quiet. This is 2 p.m. This is getting to 4, 5. We do get some strong to severe storms up near Shreveport and surrounding communities, maybe around Monroe. If this is 5 p.m., some cells begin to form. We have an enhanced risk up here for a reason. So these could produce a tornado, all severe hazards. I'm going to keep mentioning that, especially up towards Shreveport in the northwestern corner of the state. This is 8 p.m., 9 p.m. You see them cells up there. And then we get an 11, midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. Not a whole lot happens overnight. So there's like a period later on this afternoon into this evening, into the late evening hours where you want to watch the northern parishes of Louisiana. Outside of that, I don't expect a whole lot to happen in central to southern Louisiana. Doesn't mean that it couldn't, but I don't expect a ton. There's a sharp cutoff of the severe weather. Let's break down Mississippi and Alabama, and then we'll start to work our way into the heart of this severe weather area. This is 11 a.m. This is lunchtime. Remember, time frame is up here. 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m. Not a whole lot going on at this point. We're getting to dinner time, 7 p.m. And then look at those storms coming out of Arkansas, which we'll break down here in a second. Okay, 8 p.m. Then we start to get some storms crossing the Mississippi River, getting on the eastern side of it. And then we get some storms, especially in the northwestern corner of Mississippi. If you live there, a tornado outbreak could occur later on this evening. This is right around when the sun is setting. It's probably already set. It's 9 p.m. It's dark outside. We get some semi-discrete supercells to enter the northwestern corner of the state. Guys, these could produce everything. All hazards, tornadoes, large hail, damaging winds, stronger tornadoes. This is 11 p.m. You see how most of the action is just kind of hugging up into the northwest corner. We have a high risk and a very small section, technically, of northwestern Mississippi. I said Missouri at any point. I apologize. Sometimes I kind of brain fart a little bit there with the states when you're just mentioning so many states. But this is 1 a.m. Listen, these storms, even at 1 o'clock in the morning tonight, are still producing severe hazards. But you notice there's not a whole lot going on for the rest of Mississippi, the rest of Alabama, we get into 3 a.m., 4 a.m. These could still be supercells. You see these weird circular things? This is where we have rotating updrafts, the potential for rotating storms, the potential for a tornado, and large hail. But you see most of the action kind of hugs up and kind of stays in northern Mississippi. That's the general theme. There's not a whole lot going on most of this map. So that's the general look, is way up here. Now, Arkansas, this will be a big state of severe weather. We'll start off at 9 a.m., 10 a.m. Time frames up here. The rest of the action that's trailing across Oklahoma right now is going to move into the western counties of Arkansas. These could produce some strong winds, damaging some damaging winds, some large hail. This is around lunchtime. We could have storms blasting through Fayetteville, Fort Smith. You know, how much will these storms hang together across the state? It says they hang together pretty well. This is 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m. They could begin to lose some steam and then more convection fires. So this is 5 p.m. We got scattered storms across central Arkansas, really almost across all of Arkansas except the northwestern portion of the state and the southeastern portion of the state. But this is when it gets dangerous. We'll stop it here. This is 7 p.m. based off this run. We begin to get supercells, kind of a broken line of supercells. Now, if you were listening to me at the beginning of the video, I said I somewhat question the high risk today. That doesn't mean that I disagree with it. I just question it, and it's because of storm mode. You're not seeing a lot of super discrete supercells that you would see on like a high risk day. You're seeing a lot of semi-discrete, which could make this more dangerous, because if we do get tornadoes to form out of these cells, they're probably going to be rain wrapped. You're not going to see them coming. But you see kind of down here in like southwestern Arkansas, you see how these look more discrete, and you can see all these little circular areas coming off the cells. This indicates rotating updrafts, therefore very large hail and the potential for strong tornadoes. So almost every single one of these little discrete supercells had this little circular thing off of them, which tells us that the environment's favorable for rotating thunderstorms and for tornadoes. And this is why we can have a tornado outbreak in this area right here. So this is 7 p.m. The eastern counties of Arkansas look like a dangerous area to be in. All these storms just about rotating, just about. Doesn't mean we're going to get a tornado, but this is 8 p.m. They're slow movers, so flooding is going to develop into an issue. Look at these rotating storms going over Memphis. I mean, look down here in southeastern areas of Arkansas. All these are rotating thunderstorms. Not all of them, but you know, you get what I'm saying. The atmosphere supports the potential for any of these storms to be rotating. This is 11 p.m. This is midnight. You know, we're not getting a sweeping cold front, so more storms begin to develop in southern Arkansas. It doesn't stop. And we might begin to get a little break into the wee hours of the morning, but then more showers and storms gear up for Thursday morning, because we do not have a sweeping cold front to really progress all this energy to the east like we typically do this time of the year. This is why the flooding threat is going to become a big deal. I mean, Arkansas is going to get hit hard over the next several days with flooding and severe weather chances. But let's back this timeline up. It looks like right after 5 o'clock onward, things get serious, and especially eastern Arkansas and southern Arkansas. I mean, tornado outbreak could unfold very quickly, guys. Now, Missouri, we have this line of storms sweeping through right now, producing some severe thunderstorm warnings, heck, maybe some tornado warnings right now. I haven't looked at the radar in this area in about an hour and a half because I've been preparing this video. But this is 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m. Storms still making their way through, sweeping through the central area of the state. And then we start to get into 1 p.m. This is when we're starting to get to the prime heating of the day. 2 p.m., 3 p.m., we're starting to get some of these storms that begin to rotate in eastern areas of Missouri. And then we're starting to get into 4 p.m., 5 p.m. This is when it can begin to get dangerous. I'm going to have to cut off the time frame here. This is 5 p.m. though. This is 6 p.m. If you live in the Boot Hill, Missouri, Poplar Bluff, you know, this entire area of Missouri, once again, just like it was a few days ago, under the gun, this line of storms, broken line of storms, could be producing a tornado outbreak. All hazards. This is like 7 p.m. This is 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m., and it looks like things begin to clear out after midnight in this area. But, you know, time frame of the storms, once again, this is 7 a.m. They're going to slowly inch the way across the state. Atmosphere will begin to become unstable out ahead of this, and then this afternoon to this evening, watch out, especially southeastern Missouri. This is where it could get bad. So now, breaking down Kentucky and Tennessee. This is around 2 p.m. Nothing going on before then. This is 4 p.m., 5 p.m. You see the storms moving out of Illinois, which we'll cover here in a second. And then Missouri. This is 6 p.m. The storms begin to enter the western sections of Kentucky and Tennessee. 7 p.m., this is when it goes downhill fast with the far western counties of Tennessee. If you live in the far western counties of Tennessee and Kentucky, things will go downhill fast. Line of storms moves in, capable of producing all severe hazards. Like, look at this. This is 8 p.m. And it looks like more so a line of storms, but you have supercells embedded in this. Supercells, a rotating thunderstorm, capable of producing all hazards. Tornadoes, obviously, is the big thing people think about. But you see how you got this circular thing in this line of storms up here, down here. It's indicating rotation along this entire line of storms. So we get into 9 p.m. This is just moving and progressing west to east across western sections of Kentucky and Tennessee. All hazards being produced here. A dangerous dinner time into late evening period. And then we get into 10 p.m. Important to know where you are in the map. Okay, I'm not going to be able to tell you exactly when these storms are going to hit. This is 11 p.m. These are starting to get closer to Bowling Green. This is blasting through Louisville, up to Cincinnati, Elizabethtown, everybody included in these areas. Jackson, Tennessee, Clarksville. Okay, then we get into midnight. Storms are getting close to Nashville. Storms are moving through Nashville around midnight. So once again, for like central Kentucky, middle Tennessee, this is going to be an overnight deal for you guys. It's good news for you guys just because the severe weather threat probably lessens somewhat, but you could still be getting all hazards with this line of storms. 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. And you notice how the line of storms begins to tilt. Okay, it doesn't progress all the way into eastern Tennessee. That is because we do not, once again, have a sweeping cold front. We have a stubborn ridge over the southeast that's really protecting us and roasting us also. We're going to get into the 90s in certain areas of the southeast to round off this work week into this weekend. But the reason that this stops progressing eastward is because we have a ridge over the southeast that's basically propelling everything around like a bubble the southeast. So we're just going to continue to wake up to heavy rain and storms in middle Tennessee up through Kentucky tomorrow morning. But man, tonight, like I said, let's back this up a little bit. All right, this is 6 p.m., 7 p.m. This dangerous area of storms begins to move into the western sections of Kentucky and Tennessee. I'm telling you, tornadoes galore with this. It has the potential to happen. The way we can bust with this is that the storm mode just does not support tornadoes. Hopefully this could just become, we're going to either get one or the other or everything, but hopefully we will take the damaging wind threat probably over a widespread tornado outbreak. But hopefully we don't get both. So now covering my folks up here in Illinois and Indiana, we got storms moving into western sections of Illinois right now. This will continue 9 a.m., 10 a.m. Peoria gets hit by these storms mid-morning. 11 a.m. This is, fighting allergies still, guys. Lunchtime, storms are moving through central Illinois, Chicago. Really, the threat for severe weather is for what happens later this morning into early this afternoon up here in like northern Illinois. But you see these storms that kind of reform near Peoria, Galesburg around 1 p.m. this afternoon. That's some storms we need to watch. They look like they're hooking a little bit, but just watch as these continue to unfold. 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m. Remember, there's a high risk for southern areas of Illinois. Okay, so Carbondale, there's a lot going on here. We got little supercells up here near Indianapolis. Remember, this is not exactly what's going to happen. We're just trying to get the best we can get out of just model guidance. But we got individual cells up here in northern areas of Indiana. We got showers and storms down here in southern Illinois, the high-risk area. These immediately start rotating, not immediately, but you get what I'm saying. They really start to get going and tap into that atmosphere around later this afternoon to this evening. So we start to see those circular things where we have rotating updrafts. We're getting this near Indianapolis too. Look at this storm around like Muncie up to Fort Wayne. This is beginning to rotate. These could produce tornadoes up here in southern Indiana. This is around 6 p.m. Okay, we could have individual supercells. Look at this supercell getting into Ohio, which we'll cover here in a second. And then look how these storms are producing rotation around Evansville up to Bloomington, Indianapolis. So this entire line can be rotating. It's around 7 p.m. This is 8 p.m. Important to know where you are on the map, guys. Evansville getting hit by these storms. Indianapolis, these are moving through around dinner time. Storms are moving through all of southern and southeastern Indiana, and then they start to fully sweep into Ohio later this evening, but we could get storms before this evening into Ohio. We'll talk about that here in a second. And then they begin to move out. But really, these storms right here are starting to get to 4 to 5 o'clock, 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m. That's kind of the time frame to really watch, especially for the southern half of Illinois and Indiana. But we could get some supercells capable of producing all hazards up here in northern Indiana also. So you look up here in lower Michigan, a big blob of rain. Some areas getting snow this morning. But watch how the southern areas of lower Michigan begins to clear out. This is just a whole lot of heavy rain. Could be snow up in northern lower Michigan. We get into 4 p.m., some of these storms could begin to get severe limits in southern areas of lower Michigan. Lansing, Jackson, Kalamazoo, Grand Rapids, Detroit. This is 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m. Could get some stronger cells. Look at this storm, kind of straddling that Ohio, Michigan line down here. This is 10 p.m. It shows Detroit getting hit by some storms. Watch out for these storms up near Flint, Mount Pleasant. They're right around kind of a thermo boundary of thermodynamics that support severe weather and that thermodynamics that don't. But please, if you live in the southern counties of lower Michigan, take the severe weather threat serious today. You have a higher risk of severe weather for a reason. So, Ohio, this is 7 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m. Could have some storms that affect the northwestern corner of the state, Toledo, Bowling Green later on this morning. I don't think these will be the big deal, the big storyline, but, they could produce some hail. The potential for some gusty winds, but we get into 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m. Look at those storms. More storms continuing to make their way through northwestern Ohio. 7 p.m., 8 p.m. Look at this supercell. We don't know if this is exactly where it's going to be, but look at this supercell sort of in northwestern areas of Ohio. Bowling Green, up to Findlay, Toledo. You want to watch this stuff. This is like a lone supercell capable of producing a tornado. Not sure if that's what's going to happen, but we know that this line of storms is going to move in 9, 10 p.m. in the western counties of Ohio. This is 11 p.m. Look at these storms blasting through Dayton, Troy. This is midnight. Storms making their way through Columbus, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Dayton. The further south you get, probably the worse the severe weather will be. But this really turns into sort of a line of storms. Still can get tornadoes with this 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m. Could continue to get strong to severe storms, and then we get all the way into daybreak tomorrow, and this is sweeping on through. So, once again, we'll go through this. Watch out for some supercells this evening in northwestern Ohio. Then later this evening, a line of storms will sweep through pretty much the entirety of the state. We'll get all the way to Pittsburgh, western PA, West Virginia, into the wee hours of the morning. So that's a breakdown of that. Now, just to kind of section off a couple areas as far as the updraft Felicity swath. This is starting off all the way to about 1 p.m. this afternoon. Anywhere where you see slashes of color, this is where we could have rotating updrafts based off this model run. But watch how it really fills in that high-risk area. See this entire area rotating updrafts. This is where we worry for tornadoes, a tornado outbreak in these areas right into here. It's just not a good look. Not a good look into here. Okay. We're also going to have the risk of damaging winds through here. Okay. So these are the potential wind gusts off this run, the HRRR model run. We got pockets of 50, 60, 70 mile per hour winds. Could get 80, 90 mile per hour winds with some of these storms. And then we look up here. Rotating updrafts, same thing. Watch how it fills in as we take it all the way into tomorrow morning. It gets very loud as far as the colors here in western Kentucky, the southern areas of Indiana, Illinois, all the way into Ohio, and even northern Kentucky. This area, we have to watch out for just widespread tornadoes. Okay? And same thing with the damaging wind threat. We'll take a look at that. And Yeah, I mean, just very strong winds, capable, very, very strong winds are capable with some of these storms. Very, very strong winds. It just depends on if you get hit by the worst of this storm or not. So, all right, guys, moving forward here, there is a threat of flash flooding today. This is between now and tomorrow morning. A moderate risk, 40% risk in this red area of flash flood guidance being met within 25 miles of any given location. Little Rock, Memphis, Nashville, all the way up to Louisville, Evansville. You guys are included in this. Basically, almost all of the highest risk of severe weather areas. And how much rain could you just expect over the next 24 hours, guys? I mean, folks, if you live in this red area, that's where over 3 inches of rain could fall. I know there's a lot to kind of take in on this map, but you could get, 2 to 4 inches of rain in this area just over the next 24 hours. But this is nothing compared to what's to come. But let's break down the snow side of this really quick for these areas. And we started off this morning. Snow is continuing to fall in northern areas of Minnesota, the Dakotas, but we're going to have a big push of moisture into some leftover cold air. Cold air will linger around. We're going to continue to get a hefty snow event in areas of the Dakotas, northern areas of Minnesota, push of heavy snow into northern lower Michigan, the UP of Michigan, but this will actually switch to rain because low pressure will plow into the area, bringing a lot of warm air. Snow will continue to fall because you continue to stay on that colder side of this low back in the eastern Dakotas and then northern areas of Minnesota. And then finally, this will tap out as we start to get into tomorrow morning. But additional snowfall totals, anything in the purple color is 6 inches or higher. Fargo, another half a foot of snow. The entire northern terrain of Minnesota, over a half a foot of additional snow. Duluth, you can get another 6 inches or higher of snow. A lot of snow in northeastern areas of Minnesota still probably to come. And then the UP of Michigan, a few inches of wet snow possible right off the dot, but this will probably melt quick and get rained on. And then what's wild is over the next 48 hours, we could get a few inches of wet snow in northern lower Michigan, but we could actually get severe weather down here today in the southern sections of lower Michigan. So be aware of this. To round this video off, and unfortunately, we just kind of got to give you the basic information about what's to come. What we know is tomorrow there's a slight risk extending from northern Texas all the way to Washington, D.C. Huge slight risk, level 2 out of 5 risk of severe weather. Tornado threat is the highest down here in Arkansas, surrounding states, Mississippi, western Tennessee, areas of Kentucky, yada, yada, yada. The same states. I expect an upgrade to an enhanced for us somewhere in here. We'll see what happens. Hail threat, risk of significant hail. You got the 15% risk of hail exceeding 1 inch in diameter or larger in the yellow area. But in that black outline region, a chance of 2 inch in diameter or larger hail. And then the wind threat, this entire area has a 15% risk of winds exceeding 55 to 60 miles per hour. And then, folks, even for day 3, another slight risk, 15% risk of any severe weather in this area. This is for Friday. And then, guys, look at this. This is for Saturday. They already have an enhanced risk up for Saturday. Level 3 out of 5 risk of severe weather. Similar areas. Western Deep South, areas in the Mid-South. Slight risk goes all the way up into the Ohio Valley. And then we have a slight risk up for areas of Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina. Level 2 out of 5 risk of severe weather. 15% risk of severe weather. Just insane stuff, guys. And then we have a high risk of flash flooding in that pink area. Same area is going to get all this severe weather, a high risk. Sorry, I had an alarm set, guys, because I knew this video would be long. A high risk of severe weather, 70% risk of flash flooding occurring in this pink area, 40% risk in this red area for tomorrow. And then we got a risk of flash flooding for Friday, a 40% risk of it here. And looking at how much rain could fall between now and the next 6 to 7 days, over a foot of rain could fall in the same area that we could get a tornado outbreak today. So this is going to be an insult to misery type deal, guys, unfortunately. An awful situation. Right now, we're sitting here this morning, I guess you can say calm as can be. Of course, we're not feeling that way, but it's the calm before the several day storm, right? But this is the most active I've seen the weather that could potentially happen, if that makes sense, since I've been doing YouTube weather, as far as, severe weather and flooding. This is insane stuff. So hopefully this does not materialize as bad as it looks. I'm welcome. I will take the flack if this is a huge bust in the best way possible. But it's a really bad situation, guys, that can unfold. God bless all y'all. Stay safe out there. Praying for you folks. And we'll have a video maybe tonight into tomorrow morning. But tonight there'll be a lot going on. A lot of people will be tuning in to people going live. I have church tonight also. So I'll try to get one in tonight. But we'll see what happens. Stay safe out there. God bless. And I'll talk to you soon.